Hi, you guys. All right, let's get started on our next topic here. So far this week, we've talked about a couple different things. One, this week's topic was sort of supposed to be about how do we get through the low moments of our business? Because as we all know, in an industry like this, in a business like this, we're going to have some of our best days and some of our worst days. And we really, as coaches, need to know how to understand what's happening in the low moment so that we can continue through and get back to the high moment without completely putting it back on ourselves, blaming the business, blaming other people and all of that sort of thing, and really kind of push through to become stronger human beings. And another topic of this week was really digging into getting back to the basics, being in phase one. We watched a video by Bonnie Ingalls. She really talked about staying kind of in that first phase of your business and really not going into manager mode and not going into, focusing too much time on your team. So I kind of want to take it back a little bit today, talk about more sort of why we're focusing so much on the basics and how we can continue moving forward as business builders. And so first and foremost, a big topic has obviously been getting it back to the basics. And here's the reason. So there's been a lot of conversations going on behind the scenes, and I know I've been talking to a lot of my fellow leaders in this group, talking to other mentors in Beachbody, and just trying to figure out, how come it's so different now than it was when I first started. And what I finally realized, and I think a lot of people are kind of realizing this right now, is essentially we as leaders, who have been in this business a little bit longer, we went, just like everyone tends to do, into too much manager mode. But I don't think it was that we were focusing too much on wanting to help other people build the business. It was almost part of us trying to help others not go through the struggle and the pain and the hurt that we sometimes went through when we first started building our businesses. Because at the end of the day, you guys, so I was the first coach on Fit Foundation. I was one of Keisha's first coaches, me and Sina. And so obviously been with this business, been with this team from the very beginning, but even my fellow leaders here in this group have all been on this team when there was less than 50 coaches. And so it's kind of an interesting concept to see, how did we learn? How did we get this business from, 2 coaches to 50 coaches to now, almost 2,000 coaches? And why haven't we necessarily experienced the same number of almost extreme lows sometimes that people we see in this business this time around? And I think what the reason honestly is I know when I first started this business, all I was told, there was no leadership groups, there was no push groups, there was no training, there was no launch groups. I was literally just told, if you want to be successful in this business, it's going to blow your mind how simple it is, but here's all you have to do. You have to run a challenge group, which means you have to fill a challenge group, which means Success Club. So those all go hand in hand. And it's important to remember, Success Club is about filling those challenge groups to change those lives. So fill a challenge group and hit Success Club, do your workouts, and do personal development. And that was it. And so I thought, okay, so I'll do that. And then I was told, to make that a little bit easier for you, I would recommend talking to new people every day, sharing your story on social media, doing some activities that will help you build your challenge group. Here's some personal development books I would recommend. But overall, the end goal was fill your challenge group and be approved for the product and do your workouts, whatever it was. I don't remember what I said, personal development. So that was kind of really what I was told from the beginning, which meant that sometimes I was able to fill my challenge groups pretty quickly. And other times it took a lot more work. I was like, shoot, we're halfway through the month. I don't have anyone on my challenge group. So I better get up earlier today, or I better stay up later, or I better set aside like a Saturday to really fill this challenge group. And I better, do whatever I need to do to fill my challenge group. And that was kind of my non-negotiable requirement coming into this business. And it's really interesting because I don't know if I did the same for a lot of my new coaches coming into this later in the game. And here's why. So you think about the idea of inviting and how now you come into this and there's invite scripts and there's invite videos and there's invite platforms and there's all these different invite things, and people can get overwhelmed with information. No one taught me how to invite. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I was an invite word vomiter. I sent my link to people before even asking if they were interested. I just added people to groups. No one taught me how to invite, but I had to learn through a lot of trial and error. And the whole ask questions thing, actually get to know people and break it down base by base, step by step, none of that was told to me by a Beachbody coach. That was told to me by GoPro, an audiobook that I was listening to for personal development. He was the one that broke that down. And I was like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. And so I started doing it, and I started doing it more and more, and I perfected the process for me. Well, because that's just one trial and error process that I went through, I decided, well, I don't want my coaches to have to wait 5 months to learn this. So I'm going to tell them right up front. I'm going to put that in my Coach Basics training. I'm going to, on my first one-on-one with them, that's one of the first things we're going to cover. I'm going to create scripts for them. I'm going to give it to them so they never have to go through that trial and error process. Well, what happens then is when you're told over and over again, it's easy, just follow the steps. It's easy, just do it this way. It's easy to do it this way. When you go into that and you fail and it's not easy, all of a sudden it's not, how can I do this differently? It's, why do I suck at this? And so you almost have to kind of take away the hand-holding of helping your new coaches get started. And this is really kind of like a random topic, but it intros into like what I'm going to talk about next here, is this idea that I think at the end of the day, us coaches who have been in the business longer have kind of become those overbearing parents that don't allow their kids to grow up with a thick skin. So I'm a huge fan of analogies, and I like to think of this as, when I was a kid, I went out on the playground, I got pushed down, I scraped my knee, I got dirty, I broke the rules, I climbed trees, I did things, and I learned from falling down. I learned how to pick myself back up. I learned, what was good to do and what wasn't good to do. I learned along the way. And I think what we can get caught up in, and as parents, let's say, I fell down on the playground a bunch of times, like I want to protect my kid from that. So all of a sudden we become the parents that we don't want our kids to fall down and scrape their knee. We want to make sure that they know how to be polite right away and how to wear, protect. I don't even know what I'm trying to say here, but the point is, it's the idea that you become that overbearing parent, that you want to protect your kids so much that it's like everyone gets a trophy. And don't push my kid down. He came home with one scraped knee and now I'm going to freak out and blame the school. We don't want to become those kind of parents. We kind of need to let our children fly from the nest a little bit and scrape their knee and fall down and maybe get bullied or whatever. No, it's horrible to say. We should never let somebody get bullied. But that's kind of the point I'm trying to say here is we have to let our kids grow a thick skin. We have to let our coaches grow a thick skin. So when they're in the low moments of this business, they don't look at this and blame themselves. They don't look at this and say, what's wrong with me? Why is this business so hard for me? It's, okay, what can I do differently to get out of this valley? And so that's kind of one thing I wanted to talk about here today is the hills and the valleys of this business. And so we're going to, two different topics right now that we're going to talk about in this video, getting through the hills and the valleys, and then how to use life to motivate your business versus letting business dictate your life. So we're going to go ahead and talk about that really quickly. So the concept of a hill and a valley is something that everyone goes through in this business. And I'm sure Brigitte Linford has a great video on this. I highly recommend going and watching it. But it's basically this concept of this business is not something that we go through like this. This business is something we go through. Let's pretend this is like the giant hill. And there's going to be a hill that we climb, and there's going to be a valley that we go into, and a hill that we climb, and a valley that we go into, and a hill that we climb. And notice that the hills will get higher, and the valleys will be right. So the valleys are here. The hills get higher to climb, though. So every time you hit your low, you have to climb a little bit higher to get out on top. And we're going to talk about why that is. So you start climbing your hill. Again, use this as an we're here. So when you start this business, you're starting to push your tire up the hill. It's okay, the first goal, the top of that hill is just hitting Success Club, starting to understand the process, getting my flow going. Okay, I'm putting myself out there, I'm getting vulnerable, I'm learning the basics, I'm climbing this hill. Then you get to the top of the hill, and here's what we have to remember. A hill is not just this and a flat line, it's a hill. It's something that when you get to the top, there is a possibility to go back down. So you have to think about you're pushing your tire up the hill, you get to the top of the hill, you're stronger now, you have momentum, you're going for it. You can't just stop on that hill because your tire will end up falling down without you. And that's where you lose momentum. But if you keep pushing your tire and you're like, this is cool, I'm on top of the hill, I'm feeling good, but I'm anticipating the valley, I'm anticipating falling back down, here's what happens. When you get to the top and you're going along, you're cruising, things are good, all of a sudden things start to go back down, you're right there with your tire so that when it gets to that bottom of the valley, you're right there to start pushing it back up. And your strength that you built pushing it up the first hill carries you up to the same distance of the hill. So again, using this analogy, the valley is this arm, hills are this arm. You're going through, you get to the top, you fall back down, you go here, you go to the top again. So now your strength that you built climbing this hill will get you to that same point on your hill. And then it's that last little hump that you have to go over. That's a different struggle. It's a more challenging struggle. So maybe in the first month, the first hill, you're trying to hit Success Club, you're trying to go Emerald. And then when you get back down, all of a sudden, it's not only trying to hit Success Club, but you're also wondering, okay, why do I have coaches quitting? Or I can't seem to find business builders, or I'm pushing for a rank and I can't seem to help people build their business or whatever. You have a different, more challenging struggle. Then you get to the top of that hill and things are great and you keep pushing your tire and you keep pushing your tire and you keep pushing your tire. Then all of a sudden it goes back down again. And now, again, you're pushing up that, you have the momentum though. You followed your tire, you ran after it, you kept going, and now you get through the valley, you hit Success Club again. You're okay with coaches quitting. You kind of understand that you just have to keep building your business. You have to keep adding people. And then all of a sudden it's coming up with a new challenge. Maybe it's going Premier or Elite, or maybe it's rank advancing to 5-star, whatever it is. You have your next challenge. And also, guys, it's important to remember that life challenges are going to come up in these valleys and hills as well. So maybe you have something going on with your spouse. Maybe you have something going on with your kids at home. Maybe you have something going on, with work or whatever it is. You have things going on in your head. And it's kind of like all of a sudden you're back in a valley of, oh my gosh, this business is crazy. Like I have to hit Success Club, but also like work is crazy and things are going on. If you can follow your tire through the valley, you'll have that momentum to get you through the basics of your business, and just know that you're building that strength to get to the top of your hill. You're building that momentum. You're building the ability just to climb to the top and show people, look, I'm all the way up here. I climbed this damn hill. Follow me up. Sorry, I'm getting like aggressive with this. So that's kind of what you want to think about with valleys and hills, knowing that when you're in the low, it's not meaning that you're failing. It's not meaning that things are going wrong. What it means is just that you have to keep pushing your tire, which is why when you're at the top of that hill, you cannot get comfortable up there. You can't just sit in a lawn chair and be like, cool, Success Club has been happening. Success Club is quote unquote easy to get. I don't have to keep networking with people. I don't have to keep posting on social medias consistently. I don't have to keep doing personal development. Things are great. I'm hitting Success Club. Because when that tire goes down, you're up here. That tire goes up. Oh, nope. Now he settles in the valley. And then you have to walk down and get your tire. And now you have to start all over again. And that is way more exhausting, because when you get to the top, you are so out of breath from trying to hit Success Club and start networking again and start posting on social media again and doing all these things, and fighting whatever other battle has come up, because you're a more advanced coach, you have a lot more going on, that you get to the top and you're exhausted, and then you just flop down on the top of the hill because you're tired, and then your tire goes down again, and it loses momentum, and you're standing on the top of this hill, and you're like, God forbid, I'm not walking down there again. And let's say you do. Imagine how much more exhausting you are on that third hill that you're climbing up. By the time you get to the top, at some point, you're going to stop, because at some point you're going to be like, F that tire. I'm not pushing it up one more freaking hill. It's not going to happen. But if you get into a routine where you're pushing, then you're sprinting down there after it, and then you get it back going again, and then you're gaining strength, you'll start to learn, like, if I just keep momentum going, I'll have moments of sprint, and I'll have moments of walk, and I'll have moments of strength, and I'll have moments where I'm like chasing it down the hill, like, no, like I have to save it. And so you think about the higher your hills get, and when it starts to roll down, the higher up on the next hill it will go. And that's what's cool too, is it's not going to be, all of a sudden up here it's rolling down the hill and it's like, okay, I hit Success Club and I hope coaches not quit and I rank advanced. Okay, now the next challenge. Like, you're still going to get that sprint motion because you're staying in momentum. And so it's really just understanding that, again, a valley is not a failure. It's just meaning you have to work a little harder and anticipating the sprint that is coming. And so when you're at the top of the hill, let's say you lock in Success Club really early in the month, it's so important to not get comfortable, to anticipate, okay, I locked in Success Club early this month, so cool, I'm going to do a lot of Hey Girls. I'm going to do a lot of like networking and messaging, and I'm going to send a lot of friend requests so that when my tire goes back down, I'm ready to go with these invites start of the month, and I get it going, and I keep momentum going. I'm not getting comfortable. And so you get this like progress going. And so that's not to say that there's going to be moments where things happen. Life happens. You're going to be in the bottom of the valley, and maybe, again, there's medical issues, or there's something going on at work, or there's something going on internally with your family. And yes, it might mean that your tire is pushing a little bit slower, but that just means that you have to put one foot in front of the other and just say, like, okay, what do I need to do to get past this valley, to push this tire up this hill? I know that the only things I need to do in this business to be successful is to network with new people, meaning sending friend requests, Hey Girls, and that's it, talking to people, inviting them into my groups, aka filling my challenge groups and hitting Success Club, doing my workouts and personal development. If that means I have to scale back a little bit, that means I have to scale back a little bit. But I know that all I'm going to worry about right now as I climb this freaking hill is filling my challenge groups with people who are ready to change their life. And that's it. And so that's kind of the concept of the hills and valleys. And just I know for me, I get really fired up when I'm in a valley, because I look at a problem and I think, oh my gosh, this is insane that this is even part of my life. This is insane that I have a team of, let's say 300 coaches, something like that. And I have to figure out how we as a group are going to get through this valley. And I'm excited to find the personal development book. I'm excited to go out there and talk to a lot of new people. And I don't know how it's going to work. I don't know how I'm going to get to the top of this hill, but I'm going to make it happen. And that's the mindset that you kind of have to adopt. It's that scrappy fight or like flight mode of I'm going to fight. I'm not running away. I'm not going to freeze. I'm going to fight. I'm going to, keep pushing up this hill because I know that that's the only thing I have to do to be successful. Because you better believe I don't want to be the girl sitting at the top of the hill looking down at my tire and be like, gosh, I don't want to go chase after that tire and do it again. So you have to keep moving forward. You have to keep moving forward. And just know that when you get to the top of the hill, the rewards are greater and greater. The higher the hill is, the better the view, right? So keep pushing through that valley. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is essentially using this bit, is the idea, it's two different ideas, but it's using life to dictate your business, not letting your business dictate your life. And what I mean by that is so often in the low moments, in the valleys, I see people look at everything that's going on around them and they blame the business. And they say, this is causing problems with me and my spouse, and this is causing me to be distracted at work, and this is causing me to do all these things. And they blame the business as the bad thing. So they essentially let their business dictate all the other chaos that's going on in their life. When instead, you have to use life, what's going on in your life, to dictate how you treat your business. And so essentially what I want to try and make this more a little clear is we all have whys. We have these, the why that makes you cry. It's the long-term why that's going to keep you moving forward in this business. But it can be hard to hold on to that why and associate the business with that why when shit starts to fall apart. So it's important to not only keep your why in mind, but when things are going wrong, and I guarantee you a lot of times, for me at least what I've noticed, and a lot of people that I've worked with in this business, is the business starts going a little bit downhill and not in like the Tire Valley way when other areas of life start going on. And instead of saying, this business is causing problems with me and my spouse, or this business is causing I'm not sleeping at night, or is causing me to be depressed or defeated or whatever it is, let's take a chance to look at the other things going on in our lives. Is it that we're struggling financially and that we were counting on this business to bring in a little bit more income? Are we struggling with our schedules because now, we're spending time on our business at night and we're working full time and we have all this going on? What are the other circumstances in our life that we're not happy with? And use that to get pissed off and therefore build your business faster. It's something that I've really worked on, and how I think about this is whenever things aren't going as well, if I'm really busy and I'm really overwhelmed, or there's stuff going on in my life, personally or emotionally or whatever it is, I'm going to get mad about that kind of stuff and be like, this is not how I want to live my life. This is not the schedule I want to have. This is not the income I want to make. This is not how I want to have a relationship with Andy or whatever it is. If he's really busy at work and I'm really busy and we're stressed or whatever, I'm going to use that thing to be like, I don't want this. Therefore, I'm going to work harder at my business to eliminate these stressors. I'm not going to blame the business for being an added stressor. And so I really think it's important to use that in the low moments, to look at everything else going on and understand that just as much as the challenge groups are a solution for other people to get fitness results, this business is a solution for us to fix all of the other chaos in our lives. And that sometimes it's not going to be the really emotional why that brings you forward, or it's not going to be the dream house that you and your spouse have on your vision board, or it's not going to be all these things. It's going to be just getting mad at your circumstances and making the sacrifices to work your business so it grows faster. And that ties right into the mindset that I know I had when I went into this business to start with. Because again, the only thing I was told is fill your challenge groups, do personal development, and be proof of the product. And so I just never had it in my mind that I was never not going to hit Success Club. I just knew I was going to hit Success Club 5 every single month because I was told if you hit fill challenge groups, then you'll have long-term success in this business. So when things are going wrong, I just have to go back to the basics and be like, I don't want this other noise in my life. I just want to talk to new people and fill my challenge groups and be proof of the product and do personal development. And that was really it. So use the stuff in your life to go through get through those valleys, to push yourself through, to understand that this business is the solution. It's stability. It's, financial security. It has the most ideal schedule. So many fights happen with spouses because they don't spend enough time together, or they're always with their kids. How cool if you can have that time just alone with you and your spouse, or you can afford a babysitter, or you can, bring them home from like their 7 jobs that they're working, whatever it is. Use other areas of life to piss you off and build your business faster versus blaming the business for causing this added stress in your life. Because I'm sorry, if trying to talk to 5 new people every day is like that bad, I don't know how long you're gonna last in this business anyway. If working out every day is that hard for you, it's gonna be a struggle in this business. If drinking Shakeology and listening to personal development is a pain in the ass, gonna be tough for you. So this business is not the problem. It's that we aren't willing to put it on the front burner to solve all these other problems. We want to blame the business for making us feel defeated, but yet it's like, oh my gosh, like I'm so overwhelmed in these other areas of my life that this business is adding to that. No, the business can solve that, because how awesome are you and your spouse, or just you individually, are you going to feel when you bring in an extra $200 that month, or an extra $500 that month, or an extra $1,000 that week? Like, imagine what that will do for you. And so is really spending an extra hour of your day focusing on this business that like hard? No, it's not. And so that's not meant to sound bitchy, but it's meant to be motivating. And it's just getting through the low moments, understanding that, you know what, we all go through tough times in this business. We all go through moments where we self-doubt, but you're not alone. You're not alone in this. So stay engaged in the community and share your frustrations, but just know that if you're doing something that's not working, if you're sending out a lot of invites and you're getting a lot of no's, take the time to just learn a different way to do it. That's what we all had to do. That's what me and the other girls that I'm leading this group with had to do. We didn't have scripts. We didn't have, thousands and thousands of YouTube videos available. Like, unless, I'm sure we had some, but not what we have now, that's for sure. So if we were trying to fill our challenge groups and halfway through the month we hadn't filled them yet, you better believe it wasn't what's wrong with this business. It was what am I doing? Like, what am I doing that I could be doing differently? Because the business is clearly working for other people. So if it's my invites I'm getting a ton of no's on, I need to learn how to invite better. So utilize your upline, utilize the personal development resources available to you, but don't count on scripts being the thing that works for you. Maybe you have to send out more, or maybe you have to send out different kinds, or maybe you just have to spend more time on the networking part. Total ramble here. But the point is, you guys, this business works. There's too many people that it has worked for this business to ever be at fault for any one of us. It's really what we can do in the moments of the low, in the moments when we're struggling, the moments when things just aren't working. How can we get out of that valley? And it's the compound effect. It's keeping your hands on that tire so that when it goes down that hill and it has momentum, it has a lot of like awesome stuff happening, and it's like rolling really fast, and you're like, this is awesome. When you hit that bottom, you start cruising right back up. And you are on your way up to the next challenge, onto the next hill, and you never stop slowing down no matter how hard it gets. So that is all I wanted to say for this video. I didn't really have a plan going into this, so I hope it makes sense. It's kind of long, I'm sure. So your assignment today is, once again, we don't want to overwhelm you with stuff to do. It's really a mindset in this business. So watch this video, share like 2 or 3 takeaways, and I hope that this helps. Go get them at the end of the month, and love you guys all. Mwah.